What is up, party people? We are Morbid Curiosities, bringing you another great episode today. I'm Nicholas Ewers, and with me is the lightweight champion of the world, the morbid mistress of mayhem herself.
Mercedes Martinez. Who are these party people you're talking about? I feel like I can't hang anymore at my delicate age here.
It's the fans, you know? This episode isn't coming out on Memorial Day, but for a peek behind the curtain, we're recording. Today's Memorial Day, right? I'm getting the right holiday.
Yeah, you are. I even keep thinking that I'm going to say the wrong one too. So, yeah, but Memorial Day it is.
It's a real nice and fine day. It's an early record. Everything's feeling good. Mercedes, how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling pretty decent. I love when we get to record first thing in the morning. I know this is what you look forward to as well. You get up and automatically head to your computer. So, we're here. We're here. We're ready.
Yeah, it's it feels good.
We're both feeling good. So, let's just jump right into this now. So, last week we covered Sinister, and this episode is on Sinister 2. So, I had said before that I really, really liked Sinister when I first watched it. And then when I finally watched the second one, I did not like it. And when we did watch the first one, I wasn't a fan. Like, I just felt really disconnected from the film itself. I don't know why. I really enjoyed it before. So I don't know what happened now.
Yeah, that really caught me off guard, actually. I thought you were really gonna sing its praises on the episode. I was listening back today. The episode dropped today, actually, on the day we're recording. We
Mhm.
took a little bit of time off, folks.
I did too. So it was strange that when we were recording, I was just in a state where I'm thinking, what do I say about this film that I can say that I love? Because I did use that term before, I believe, but I couldn't. I enjoyed the storyline. I enjoy the characters in there. It just didn't work for me this time around. However, watching Sinister 2, I have no idea why. I enjoyed it a little bit more. And not to say that I like it more than the first one. I still like the first one more. This one has some ups and downs with it, but I actually enjoyed it a little bit more. You have what's his name, James Ransone again in here as Deputy so and so. What
Mhm.
is his real name in here? Do they say his name because I can't remember?
No, I paid attention real close, and then I looked it up online. I was just thinking, like, I had to have missed it, but no, they never give him a name. He introduces himself as a private investigator and
Oh
then
yeah.
gives his backstory and doesn't give anything more than that. And I think maybe they continuously refer to him as the deputy throughout the movie.
Yeah, even looking it up online to see the cast's actual names, it just says deputy as his role in here.
I think I saw Deputy So and so on the letterboxed page, and I thought, like, guys, you're taking that. They don't even call him that in this movie. They called him that in the last movie. So
Right.
it's weird that he's credited Deputy in the first movie and Deputy So and so in the second movie. It's like, guys, that's from the other movie. He's not called that in this one.
A funny thing too is not to jump ahead, it's just a quick fact that I noticed that was a little funny. I was watching this with subtitles and the character Milo in here when the kid Dylan was talking to him, one random sentence said "Good night, Milo," but it was spelled Mylo. But all of the other times the captions came up, it was Milo. So I don't know what was happening there.
I have a buddy that uh does sound editing and like Foleying work, sound design work in the film industry, and he was telling me that when it comes to subtitles, I think it's 60 to 70% accuracy they have to have. So that's 30 to 40% they're allowed to get wrong, and it's pretty noticeable actually how subtly they get things wrong where they'll shorten what people are saying down to something a lot smaller, or have words straight up be different, or have the spelling be slightly off. It should just be 100%. Why isn't your job just aim for 100%?
Exactly, because when it's wrong, I notice it and it bothers me. I had that uncomfortable feeling throughout the rest of the film. Just they did not spell his name right. Why is it that one time? Why is it awkward? I was that gave me a little bit of more amusement out of this movie. So, weird little side note on that.
Also, I don't remember if we said it. I tend to forget. Spoilers for Sinister 2.
Oops,
Everybody's
sorry.
the most precious movie. Sorry guys if we spoiled any, intimate details about this
I know, my
horrific.
bad. What did you think of this film? Because this was the first time you watched it, or you watched this one before? I can't remember. I'm sorry.
This was my first time. I was a virgin to Sinister 2. These eyes had not
Ooh.
witnessed it. These ears had
Ooh.
not heard it.
Ooh. What did you think then? We got a virgin opinion coming up.
Going into this, I was really gonna have my knives out for this one, but I thought you were gonna join me on this ride, and it sounds like you're not going to, so I might not be as aggressive towards it as I was planning on. But yeah, I thought this movie was pretty bad. I think it might be, to me at least, the worst movie that we've covered on the podcast. It's a toss up between this and All Hallows Eve, and All Hallows Eve wasn't even like aiming to be a movie in the way that this was aiming to be a movie. I mean, this was aiming to be a sequel to a very successful horror film. At least I think Sinister was pretty successful. I feel like this movie doesn't understand the things that work about Sinister. It tries to give backstory to these kids, and it really puts focus on these kids, and it doesn't leave anything up to imagination in the way that the first Sinister did. It lacks a lot of subtlety and nuance. It really shows you things that it shouldn't show you. And I think in a lot of ways, if you're somebody who holds the movies to canon and think like sequels ruin what comes before it, then I would say Sinister 2 kind of ruins Sinister. It really is a movie that it spends its whole time answering questions that I feel nobody was really asking.
No, I agree. Like this one, it's not my favorite film. I do still agree that it's a bad film. It just felt like, if this makes sense, it was only the middle section of a storyline. It didn't really feel like it had a solid beginning and a solid ending to me. I think the only thing that I like about this film is James Ransone. I just like his acting. I think he's a funny guy. And everyone else in here, I don't know, it was strange. I agree with you what you're saying about the kids. All the dead kids in here, I thought it was strange that they were able to be seen by both kids. I understand why they were just trying to, manipulate the good twin. In turn, the evil twin that they did want to have join them would actually get to that like angered stage that he needed to be in to kill off his family. But I just didn't like how the kids were included in this a little more. I don't know.
How the kids in our reality are in dialogue with the spirit kids, like literal dialogue with each other. It's very heavy-handed. That's what I mean by it like lacking nuance. It's very, we're gonna just show you everything, and it's gonna all, yeah, I don't know. I don't want to like rag on it too hard, but what's it called? I do agree with you. Deputy so and so, I like his character. I find him interesting. I don't know if he's enough to carry a movie. I think he works really at best as he does in Sinister, where he's a
Like a
big
sidekick.
supporting yeah, a big supporting character, a sidekick to Ethan Hawke. I don't he doesn't have the confidence, the presence, or, like, the verve almost, like, Ethan Hawke is fucking magnetic. That first family in that first movie, they feel pretty real. It feels like they're in a lived-in experience, and I don't fully buy that with this family. This family also feels like they're from decades ago. They just live in Indiana. I get, like, Indiana is kind of, not the most progressive state, but it's also not people don't seem like they're from the '50s or whatever. The family felt kind of out of date for what I think is a contemporary film.
They did. The way the mom was dressing and then even the her 2 sons, they always had flannels on. Even when you see the dad, he just has, like, that slick to the side haircut or so, so yeah, I thought that was a little off. The house looking like that, that's a different story because no one had lived in the house, but the characters shouldn't have matched that.
What are some things that really worked for you about this movie?
I I like the beginning where the mom, she is in the grocery store and she has her 2 kids, they're playing around, but this guy is just, eyeballing the fuck out of her, and she, tells her kids, "Do you remember what I told you when I say, or what to do when I say rutabaga?" Or whatever she said. And they just said, "Yeah, run away," or something. So I like the fact that they had a little, security plan in place. I think that's very smart. I feel like every family should have that. So, not even just because of the situation that they were in, she's trying to, get away from her abusive husband. And I guess he knows he has all these friends in high places who is tracking his wife down so he can get her and his 2 boys back. But she's trying to just make sure they're safe. And I like that scene in particular because you see that she is trying to be protective of her kids and she doesn't seem like she's a stupid woman who's going to just keep falling for every little act or thing that her husband does or say or her ex-husband does or says. She does go back to him later, but that was because he got the sheriff involved. So I don't know. That scene itself I did like. Yeah, I think that's it. Just her that intro scene and then James Ransone because he was trying to be more of a stronger figure in here. He always plays a wiener though. In every film he's in, he plays a dork, which I fucking love.
I'm not sure if I've seen him outside of the Sinister movies.
He was in the new the remake of It. He played Eddie the dweeb.
Oh, oh yeah, you're right. That's a good catch. I didn't even realize that.
And I think he was in Black Phone too.
Oh, he's just gotten typecast as like a dweeb.
He definitely was. In Black Phone, he wasn't. He was just like this cokehead or something. But every other movie he's in, he's just a little lame guy. And he was trying to be, there for Dylan because he sees that something is wrong with him. He does end up finding out that the dad was abusive towards him. He ultimately shows that he isn't this strong character like physically because once the dad does come back, he beats the shit out of him. So um I like his character.
I kind of want to agree with you, and I want to add on to what you're saying as well. I think this movie works best in the parts where it's not being a sequel to Sinister, where it is focusing on these characters and it's about this mom looking after her 2 kids, trying to hide from an abusive ex husband while this detective comes in who's trying to solve some type of case, and the vibe of all of it is really good. When it becomes a sequel to Sinister, that's where it kind of starts to fall apart for me, which is weird because it's called Sinister 2, but I just don't buy. So everything you're saying works for me up until the moment it's Detective So and so in, I don't know if it's a hotel room or his house or whatever the deal is, and his computer starts going haywire, and then
Mhm.
Bagul's symbol comes up, and I was like, "Is Bagul, like, following people? This isn't his thing. This isn't
Right.
what Bagul does. He moves from house to house with projectors. Why is he, like, singling out this detective?" And then that's where the movie kind of loses me every time it tips into Sinister territory, which, and I'm going to say something that contradicts me a little bit. Those home footage scenes are the best horror element of this movie. They're still very well done, just like in the first Sinister. But man, the kids and just being so involved with these kids, it really clashes. Like, there's a shot of these kids sitting down all watching, I think it's the crocodile one, on the projector, and
Mhm.
the crocodile one legitimately scared me. This movie had jump scare after jump scare that legitimately got me every time. I was getting sick of it at a certain point. I'm like, "Holy fuck, I'm tired and I keep getting scared." But there's just, like, narratively, there's so much that I feel like they did wrong as a sequel to Sinister.
I actually think the kills from the first film are better than this one, and the jump scares too.
Jump scares really work on me when I'm super tired, and this one got me, but I agree with what you're saying. Sinister feels like it earns its jump scares with the
Mhm.
audience a lot more. Like that screen jump scare, I didn't really touch on it as much in the first one, but the one that you were a big fan of, that's a very popular jump scare in recent horror. I was watching it with my girlfriend, and she, before it happened, she was like, this I know this scene, this terrified the fuck out of me, and I feel like everybody has that reaction to that. Like, the this one doesn't really hold a candle, but it's still, I don't know why. I'm usually don't fall prey to jump scares, but these Sinister jump scares fucking, like, usually get me for some reason.
I feel like the jump scares got me more in the first one than this one. And in the first one, those kill scenes, they seem a little more simplified, whereas these ones they look a little more intricate. You have, what was it, the kitchen remodel, the family, they're remodeling the kitchen, but then at night the son or whoever it was, I think it was a boy, he flooded the kitchen and he has them all tied up and then he electrocutes all of them. And then even the one with the alligator scene, it's just, it's a little strange. I know they have that drug that knocks them out, but yeah, how are these kids suspending them up and not getting attacked themselves by this alligator or crocodile? Is it an alligator or is it a crocodile? I'll get those two mixed up.
Oh man, I think it's an alligator. I don't know if I said crocodile earlier, so that was my bad, but I think it's an alligator.
Oh, I didn't even catch
I
that.
don't know if we have crocodiles in America. I could be wrong. I don't know if they're
That's true.
in America though, but alligators are like Florida and Louisiana, I think.
True,
I
true.
don't know
Okay.
what I'm talking about, listeners, so don't quote me on this. Don't
I
at me.
I know the nose, their snouts or whatever that shows their differences, but yeah, you make a good point if they're in America or not.
I remember the Super Croc exhibit at the Museum of Science and Industry I saw when I was a kid, and I know that wasn't in America, so I kind of used that. Like, okay, alligators, Florida, Super Croc, not in America.
You think I would know because of the movie Lake Placid? Have you seen that one?
I haven't seen like those, or I don't know. I think I might have seen one of the anacondas. Those big animal movies, like, are a blind spot, and I think they're on our list of movies to
They
cover.
have to be because underwater creatures are no fucking joke. Those scare the hell out of me. There's so much of the ocean that we have not explored. All these little creatures are in there. Nessie's in there. So yeah, we gotta cover these films.
We will. The Host, I think, would be a good one. That's like a Loch Ness monster style movie, from what I've been told. Bong Joon Ho, Academy Award winning filmmaker. That would be a solid cover.
What is your favorite kill scene in here? Well, you said
Oh
the alligator one or
yeah.
babool. Okay.
I would say the alligator kill scene would be my favorite. That, and I like the vibe of the Christmas one. At first, a lot of these kills are too upsetting, really, for me to pick a favorite. They feel too real. The family being electrocuted is pretty horrific. And then I don't know how the one that they film at the end is going to turn out, but that one might be the worst of all of them.
What the hell was that though? This is not Children of the Corn here. So
Yeah,
I
why are the kids getting involved in another kid's video? They didn't get involved in each other's videos, but they're like throwing
exactly.
shit around. They're like shit's going off the rails. It turns into a found footage like slasher movie. It just doesn't work for the Sinister thing.
Exactly. Even in the first one when they do start to show the little dead kids, it is where Ethan Hawke isn't, aware that they're around him, and they're all moving
Mhm.
in slow motion. They're
But
not
this movie
knock
has no nuance or subtlety, and everybody is aware of the ghost. Two characters can see them, and one knows everything that's going on. Oh, man.
exactly, that is one of the big things that killed it for me. I thought I was going to kind of like it a little bit with, the kids being more in there when they showed Dylan looking at them outside, like, through the screen door, but
Where he calls him a pussy.
oh, yeah, that part was funny. And I love how the mom just jumps up out of nowhere, like, "What did you call him?" But,
Yeah.
you have, the evil presence in here making themselves known in the daylight. Again, a time where you think you're gonna feel safe, it's not gonna come and harm you, but they are pretty present throughout the entire film, whereas in the first one they're only there at night, and then they're mainly around, the girl, I think her name was Ashley in the first one. They only show themselves to her,
Mhm.
and then Ethan Hawke, he just doesn't know that they're there, but both of these kids know that they're there.
And as far as we know, only the girl who was murdered in the house that they're at. That's the only one that their daughter can see in the first movie. We don't know if she's seeing or interacting with all of these kids. I mean, dude, when they're filming the picnic and we're seeing what it looks like behind the camera in the cornfield with all the kids surrounding them, I mean, I don't know about you. I thought that just looked fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, it did. Like I said, it was just strange how the ending sequence, this kid's film. What is the other twin's name in here? It's Dylan and who else he plays?
Dylan and
Zach.
Zach.
Yeah, Zach.
Yeah, which I think they should have been played by Zach and Cody, and I don't mean that
Oh
as a
my
joke.
god.
This movie works better if it's Zach and Cody.
Sure, if you wanna go that route, we can go that route. Um, I don't know, I like the 2 that they cast in here. I haven't seen them before, but I thought they did pretty decent. I wanted to slap the shit out of Zach, so if you can get that emotion out of me for a film, you're doing the job right.
I agree. I don't have any issue with them as performers. Just the writing of the characters and everything. Like, I don't know, they didn't write the movie, so I can't lay the issues that I have with it at their feet. They did a good job with what was given to them, I'd say.
Ugh, it's like I hate that they kind of went into a Children of the Corn vibe, especially towards the end. However, the dad deserved what he got. He was a dick.
The dad, oh yeah, so the dad gets burnt alive. He's the only one who the movie opens in media res too, which I was like, when I realized that by the end of it, I thought you don't really need to show us that, especially because the movie doesn't turn out the way that the recording does at the beginning. Only the dad gets burnt alive, and I I thought that was kind of funny, and I was just thinking, oh yeah, one, they're taking off maybe the only character who could reasonably take out Zachary while he's on this rampage. But who knows? Detective so and so hits Zachary with a fucking truck, and the kid like just adjusts his neck like he may need to go to a chiropractor once or something. It
I
goes
actually
back to
forgot
my
that.
yeah, it goes back to my issue with the last Sinister movie and Cult of Chucky. The body isn't any stronger just because it's being possessed by a demon. I don't understand that. It's still the body that they're possessing. It
True, and he wasn't even possessed yet, he was just getting manipulated by all these kids. He wasn't fully taken under by Bagul yet, so that made no sense, but it was funny as hell.
I had to rewind it because I was just thinking, did I miss something or did that kid get hit by a truck and just walk it off? And
I
I
know
yeah,
nothing was wrong with him, nothing was broken, he wasn't even bleeding.
he adjusts his neck like he's fucking Captain America. I can do this all day, ready to just square up again.
Yeah,
It's
it was bad.
It's lunacy. But yeah, so they take him off the board. I thought that was kind of funny. It was just this character is not going unpunished.
Yeah, so I was happy that they at least killed him off. And the other three, they were able to be saved. I the fact that they were so far out in the cornfield, that part left me a little uneasy, like, damn, who's gonna find this fucker in the middle of that field? Because you could barely see the fire, the flames in the distance once Deputy so and so got there. So that part I did kind of like just because that guy needed to die. But even like you were saying, how they showed it in the beginning and they kept showing it throughout the film because Dylan was dreaming about it. I did not like that either. They don't even have Ellison or Ashley in the first one experiencing these nightmares. So
It
why
just
is this kid?
no subtlety. That's what I mean. It's the same thing where this kid sleepwalks too, so they have to make the sleepwalking from the last movie a thing that happens when you're dealing with Mr. Boogie.
Yeah, you said it right.
Yeah. Thanks. You heard the hesitation.
I did.
Hesitation, then I glanced,
Like, wait, did
like
I
an
get it right?
approval glance.
I'm very proud you called him Mr. Boogie. Thank you.
Yeah, it, God, I mean, don't get me started on this fucking guy too. This movie makes him worse. Also,
Mhm.
he's mopey at one point when his plan doesn't work out. The kids are thinking he's gonna be mad. Then he shows
Mhm.
up and his head's down and his hair is kind of in his face, and it's what he's a demon. Why is he like so emotional?
And his hand looked atrocious. It just looked like he had sausage fingers. I know he's pretty much a demon and he looks a little watered down, but what the fuck was that? That no, they could have if they had just put like a human hand that was decaying, that would have been a lot better than what we got. So disappointed in that.
I don't remember his hand, but I believe you. it This movie did show a little too much of him, whereas I think the magic of the first Sinister is how little they really reveal of him. Luckily, I don't think a lot of people went out to see this movie, so I don't think the mystique of Bagul has been ruined for a lot of people. Speaking of not showing up for something, there's a character Vincent D'Onofrio isn't in this movie, and I like how he blatantly just said no. to this and they had to write him out. He's replaced by a new doctor who, uh, when Dr. Jonas, I think is the name of D'Onofrio's character, when he's
Yeah.
mentioned, this new doctor is like, I hope I'm not the new Jonas because he went missing a couple weeks ago." And it's like, Is Bagul on a revenge mission from the people from the last movie? It seems like a lot of murders have happened from this movie to this movie because this is a whole new set of tapes that we're getting in this one. And Bagul is just slowly, one by one, going through everybody who assisted the author in the last movie. Is Ethan Hawke the closest one to bringing this guy down?
I guess that's what it looks like. And even with Deputy So and so and the new Dr. Jonas or whatever, he also looks like a wiener. I didn't like their interaction with each other. There was, I don't know, it just felt very forced. Whereas when you had Ethan Hawke and Vincent D'Onofrio, when they were talking, the one or two conversations that they had over Skype or whatever they had it over, that felt more engaging than this
It was
one,
kind of electric in a way.
right?
It it gripped me the moment I saw Vincent D'Onofrio's face on screen. He just has a look and a presence that comes through even on a computer monologue, and this other character feels like a rewrite.
It does, and it just feels as if they are reading from a script. It doesn't feel like the conversation is flowing. It's not real. It's they're trying to make it informative when they are listening to the recordings of those Norwegian people, but it doesn't go well. I feel like if that scene wasn't in this movie, it still would have flowed the way it was, but it's just not a successful movie in my opinion.
Yeah, and when it comes to casting choices and things like that, this movie feels less budget. It feels lower budget and as if they had less resources than they did for the first movie. And again, from what I remember, the first movie was a success and made money. This one should have another, maybe not Ethan Hawke sized actor, but then again, Ethan Hawke isn't the most expensive actor out there. You could get someone at his level. They didn't even get him to return for home video footage. I was hoping we were going to see video footage from the last movie at the very least in this one.
Yeah, that would have been cool if they had that show up, but of course not.
Can I say one thing that it kind of frustrated me a little bit too about the film and this all being new film reels? It's new film reels, whole new set of kids, which I get it. You don't want to just show the footage from the last movie that may be a little boring and new audiences who are returning may not enjoy it that much. What I didn't like is the beginning where the kids are all kind of introduced and they're bringing out their tapes and one of the kids is like, "This one's mine."
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
it's sorry if I'm shitting on the movie too much.
No, like I said, it's not a great film. I just said I had a better time watching it just because of James Ransone. I wanted more of him. Um But even his character in here, he wasn't given the greatest role to play. But that part really did bother me. It was just strange how that sequence would repeat. Dylan would go down in the basement, hi so and so, hi Ashley or whoever, and they all come out with the tape. This one's mine. This one's mine. Okay, just show them going downstairs and they play the film that could have been taken out and ah, that
Yeah,
yeah, that
why
was
do we need to
frustrating.
meet the kids?
They're not important. They're dead. We don't need to know who they are.
The movie w- says they're important though, that they want the audience to find them important, and I think that is what really weighs this movie down and gets it so many negative uh reviews and ratings on like Rotten Tomatoes and Letterboxd and IMDb. I I think if you remove the kids and giving the ghost kids any kind of a POV. It's okay giving the kids in the family a POV. That might be kind of interesting. But fully, or not even fully, half heartedly fleshing out these ghost kids and just presenting them so abruptly and so matter of factly, it I think that's what really hurts the movie the most. Like, Bagul's revenge mission can be forgiven. The fact that they break all the rules that they established for Bagul in the previous movie can maybe be forgiven because the audience at the end of the day in a Sinister 2 sequel want more Bagul, and it does deliver on that. But the kids stuff, I think, is the unforgivable aspect.
Yeah, because even in the first one, when you find out that Ashley does see um the little dead girl in there, it's when she was in bed and she was looking towards the wall and the girl was there. She painted her picture of Bagul and did the little shushing motion, but she looked dead already. And then in here, you have all the kids. You can see that they're dead, but they look okay. And then towards the end, once Dylan is saying, "No, I don't want to be a part of this. I don't want to do anything about it." That's when all of the kids are in front of him. They take a step forward and then all of their faces look worse. You see all the cracks and everything in their skin. That to me was a little strange too. It's like if they were dead to begin with, they could have shown themselves as that because they're showing this kid all these snuff films. So, what makes a difference if they look quote unquote dead or alive?
It's crazy that all of the kid characters are just bad characters, at least in my opinion. When you meet Milo for the first time, I my thought is, God, this kid sucks. And then you
Yeah.
meet the second ghost kid who's like, this one's mine. it That kid sucks. And then you meet the little girl and she starts talking and she sucks. And it's just you didn't nail any of them. And no, it's no offense to the kid actors. The characters themselves just aren't compelling or interesting characters. It was a total mistake to dive into these characters, these kids and these characters further and to give us a peek behind the curtain. It works when we give you a peek behind the curtain, but not when, Blumhouse Studios gives you a peek behind the curtain.
Well, again, like you were saying, it's not the actor's fault. It was just bad writing in here. What did you think of the budding relationship between the mom and then Deputy so and so?
Mercedes, you read my goddamn mind. I was right about to talk about that same shit.
Let's go.
I liked that. The movie is at its best when it's not being a sequel to Sinister. I liked his relationship with her. I was glad that they didn't, at least from what I caught, they didn't have sex or anything.
Mhm.
Th- It He was just a sweet guy and they were having a moment. I liked when the ex shows up with all of the sheriffs and he's trying to get custody of the kids and he confronts the sheriff himself and presents all this information. Honestly, I feel like that scene was sloppily written and the dialogue would have been stronger if it were at the hands of one C. Robert Cargill. His dialogue just really works in that movie. But the sentiment and the scene itself, enjoyed. I enjoyed the husband coming back and the detective still texting and being relentless. The husband, I mean, I wrote in my notes, what is this dude's fucking deal? Why is he such a psycho and so insistent on being in these kids' lives? He doesn't even seem like he likes any of these people that much, but
Mhm.
I don't know.
It's all about control for that man. Did you see the mom, her name is Courtney in here,
Yeah.
her license plate, it said love you C.
I did see the license plate. What is it? Is there any significance to it?
Oh, well, what I was getting at was it was for, well, now I don't know now because I was thinking, wow, this guy, he got, this was just what I was assuming. The husband, Clint, he bought this woman a car and put the license plate as Love You C, like Love You Clint. But he could have also meant that towards her because her name is Courtney, also spelled with a C. Yeah, that guy, super, super egotistical, such a douchebag. I think when I watched it the first time, I just hated this entire movie. But watching it this time around, I did like the little spark between Courtney and Deputy So and so because yeah, you can see that she's, afraid. She doesn't want anything to happen to her kids. She's not like pursuing this guy. She is just, okay, you're kind of investigating the farm that I am staying at right now. No harm in that. And then
She's having a fling.
yeah, and she finds comfort that he is there. She even asks him to stay because she doesn't want her ex-husband to come back. I like that they were having a little something.
Yeah, just a cute, sexless fling, basically.
Yeah, even when they were outside on the porch, they were smoking, they were drinking, and just talking, and nothing happened. They get to kiss once, and you are under the impression that something will continue once he comes back, but their ending doesn't look like it's going to be a happy ending either. But I like that they had that in the film. I just love James Ransone. He's funny. He's cool.
I want to talk about the ending real quick since you brought it up. The ending really made me mad, man. This movie ended by not having an ending, and that really irritated me. When they're standing there in front of the house as it's burning, I thought to myself, a 70s movie or just a confidently made movie would end right here. This is the ending. As far as they know, they stopped the thing. This is where horror movies, I felt like, used to end. You stop the thing, you end there. You don't really have an epilogue or a cliffhanger. And if there's a sequel, you have the setup at the beginning of the sequel. And I feel like this movie should have had, just like the last Sinister, I feel like had kind of the event happens. Spoilers for the first Sinister if you're listening to this and haven't seen it. Everybody gets axe murdered, and it basically just ends there with Bagul taking the girl off. If you want the main characters to win, which I didn't believe for a second they were going to stop Bagul, was ready to throw my phone if they actually stopped him. But when they end with the house, when they have that shot of the house burning, I thought this is a perfect ending. They're not going to end here. And then they have it, the detective, they leave together in his car or whatever, somebody's car. They stop at his motel. He's like, I have to grab a few things. His radio goes off. It's the kids talking or whatever. And then Bagul's face jumps in at the screen just because they did that in the last movie. They have to end it the same way. It didn't really work for me. How did you feel about the ending?
I didn't like it either. As I was saying earlier, it just feels as if this movie lacks a beginning and an ending. I agree. Once the house was burnt, that could have been the ending, or it could have just been a scene where he's driving off with Courtney and Dylan, and they're just, I don't know, on an endless road or something because they don't know where they're going. But you have that assumption, okay, they're safe though because they ended that whole killing sequence. But for him to go back to his hotel, get all of his things, and then that radio thing shows up, That was weird because they didn't have anything like that in the first one. Like you said, all of these films are on like the little reel
The
thing.
projector.
Projector, yes. They have that. That's how all of family killings are being shown in here.
And we should say they destroy the camera at the end of this
Yeah.
too.
Exactly. I think that they just introduced that radio to kind of continue this on in a different way. Okay, it's not in the camera anymore. Now it's going to be in the radio. Okay, well then what happened to the new Dr. Jonas that he didn't get rid of that? Did he die? Did Bagul bring the radio to Deputy so and so's room himself? That was a stupid ending. It really was.
Yeah, did they even wrap anything back around with a new doctor?
No? Not that I remember. That guy, he was just in the one scene where he contacts the deputy, and then when he has the just bland conversation with him, and that's it.
Yeah, the doctor's name is Dr. Stromberg, I think, too. I want to say I'm pronouncing that correctly. But yeah, he's just lacks a presence in this movie, kind of like a non-character. It is kind of weird too when he's like, I can't tell you this information over the phone. We have to meet in person. It was like weird. That's just a blatant like narrative choice. Not there's no real logic behind that. Why can't they just discuss this over the phone?
I don't know. That made no sense. And he literally drove all the way out there for what? A 5-minute conversation and then realized, oh, yeah, the kids are there. I have to go back and help this family. So this movie was just a fail.
Yeah, it and like we said, there are things that do work about it. The family stuff, it sounds like it kind of works. How did you feel about the dude who was following them in the supermarket?
He just looked like a pedophile. That's all I thought he was because his eyes, I mean, not trying to sound mean about the guy's appearance, but he just looked fucking creepy. His eye placement and just how he was eyeballing the fuck out of them and then just like snapped her picture. That guy was a straight up pedo.
My guess is that he was a public investigator or not a private investigator, but he seems like he's getting awfully close for a fucking PI. He's just blatantly walking in front of her. I was
Hmm.
I was thinking to myself, shouldn't he like be in the parking lot staking her out, taking pictures of her like walking back to her car if he's a private investigator, not throwing himself in front of her face every chance that he gets?
That's why it was strange too, because how the cop or security guard in the grocery store, he tried to stop the Courtney because she was running out of the store. And when she said, "Oh, that gentleman there just touched one of my boys," he just stops the guy, but then nothing else happens. You just see the private investigator on the phone. Yeah, it's her. Even that scene was incomplete. You know what's going on, but no.
Yeah, so you're it didn't feel too realistic. You had mentioned the license plate earlier,
Mhm.
and I noticed that it said Indiana, but one thing that's kind of fun about this movie is it was shot and it takes place basically in Illinois, not too far from where we are actually, and it kind of made me think for a second. Yeah, a lot of great horror takes place in Illinois for some reason, and we've covered some of them. We're going to cover more of them. Like we've
Mhm.
got two of the Child's Play movies at the very least take place in Chicago itself, and Sinister 2 takes place like realistically about an hour south of Chicago, maybe a little bit more, but Kankakee is where they filmed it. I want to say my buddy actually years ago when they were filming this knew about it and told me exactly. He was like, I know where the house is, I know where they're filming, I don't know if we can get close to the location, but he asked if I wanted to drive down there, and I think I had work or something stopped me from being able to go there. But he told me specifically too, like the day that they were shooting, he said that they were shooting little kids on a porch looking at a spider and watching this movie. I saw the exact scene and thought to
Mm,
myself, I don't know how he knew this, but that it's there was truth to that, I guess. But he said that was happening in Grant Park. He said the exterior house shots were in Grant Park.
really?
Which I Grant Park, University Park, I actually shot and maybe he said Kankakee, but I'm remembering it wrong. I thought he said Grant Park because I shot a horror film in Grant Park about I think it was that same summer that they were shooting Sinister 2. I shot a horror short film there, a zombie short.
Really? You gotta bring that on the podcast.
I don't know if I have it or if I can find it. A lot of the footage got lost to my MacBook crashing, and only a few of us have the footage, and I don't think it's public on YouTube anymore. I'll have to
Damn.
see if I can track it down to at least show you. I don't feel comfortable enough posting because I don't really talk to the person who I made it with as much anymore. It was like a team of three, and I only talked to one of the two other people right now. But yeah, it was pretty interesting seeing the actual shot that was being described to me in the movie. It it was pretty cool.
Interesting. That's cool. That's cool.
I imagined a tarantula, though.
Ew. What's his name? Dylan had his little slingshot and he was going to, throw his rock at it, but he doesn't. And then the thing just crawls its disgusting self away. But then when Deputy so and so is with Dr. whatever his name was, you said, he's looking through the book and you see that there was a tarantula in there, and that's a sign of Bagul, I guess. So it makes me wonder
I
if Dylan had the balls to actually whip his slingshot at that spider, would they be safe?
I don't like this half-hearted book that are in these past 2 movies. Like, one of them you said had a dog, and then a dog showed up, and there was a spider in one of them, and then a spider shows up. It's not like Evil Dead where they open the book and it's someone's face getting ripped off, and then someone's face gets ripped off, and it's like the book, you know? There's dogs and spiders everywhere.
Yeah, it was strange having that. It was just like stick to Bagul.
Speaking of spiders, have you seen any spider-related horror film?
I saw Arachnophobia. They show actual spiders. They used actual spiders in Arachnophobia. And I guess at the end of the film, their credits were saying no spiders were harmed in here, but they had a spray, not a toxic spray, but a spray that spiders didn't like. And they would use that when the exterminator was there, and I guess that is what pushed all the spiders away. But no, those were some nasty motherfuckers in there. And one of the main tarantulas in there, like the general or whatever, they
The
grabbed,
General?
yeah, they call it the general in there. They have just a big ass tarantula, and apparently they put like a painted basically a painted butt implant on it. That way it would look more exotic, because they have it where in the beginning these scientists, I think, or photographers, I can't remember, they were in a different country. One of them gets killed by one, and when he was in the coffin being sent back to America, the spider was in the coffin with it. So they have some interesting shit on that film. I hate that film so much. I was convinced that there was a spider's nest in my house growing up when I saw that
Oh.
film. It is not a good film to watch if you are arachnophobic.
I don't think I'm going to watch that ever. I don't think I'm gonna suggest a bug-based season of the podcast.
Nope.
I don't think I'm
I would have said no if you tried.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna touch that. If we started to tiptoe close to that, I'd pull the trigger on Halloween. Be like, "We're doing it, Halloween, finally."
Yeah, because they show spiders in every way that can freak you out. They show one in a shoe and it bites someone's toe. They show one in someone's mouth. They show one in this little girl's room where I think she was having like a sleepover and it's just coming down from the ceiling. They show one in some guy's helmet. They show them everywhere. So let's not relive that trauma, even though now I'm scared because we are approaching the time and pretty much are at that time of year where the spiders are emerging.
Yeah, I had a bit of a bug problem for a day right when the weather changed to good weather, but I nipped that right in the butt. When I lived in Arizona, I had to do the whole checking your shoe thing for scorpions and checking your bed sheets to make sure there were no
Ew.
scorpions in there. So the bug deal out here is way better than what I had to deal with in Arizona.
This is why I can't move out there. I would like to go visit and maybe just have warmer weather consistently, but nope, can't deal with scorpions. They had a scorpion in the first Sinister too.
Yeah, they did. So I kind of want to do like a little, quick PSA at the end of the episode to wrap it up. But before I do that, do you have any final thoughts on Sinister 2, Electric Boogaloo?
It was a funny watch just to see James Ransone again, but ultimately not a good film. Thumbs down.
Thumbs down. I hope I didn't talk you down from a thumbs up.
It wasn't even a thumbs up for me. I just had a good time watching it for some reason, which confused me because I knew I didn't like this film. But again, I had a fun time watching it more so compared to the first one. But I also think too, because the first one felt more complete and I feel like they had a more successful storyline and flow of the film, whereas this one, it felt choppy. It had a lot of scenes that were unnecessary in here. And yeah, so it wasn't a good film.
But also, man, if you had fun with it, that's totally cool too. There are movies that I've recognized as bad movies that I've still enjoyed, that I've watched multiple times. There are movies that other people will say are bad movies that I will sit here and say, that is not the case. And I will have a clear reason for why I think other people deem it as bad and for why I think it's actually good. But, there's nothing wrong with having a good time during a bad movie. I kind of was hoping to get that out of this movie, but this movie, I actually didn't expect it to be what it ended up being. I didn't think it was going to really devote so much time to the ghost kids. I thought it was just going to be a bad version of Sinister.
Yeah, it could have been better. And watching a few years, we'll probably get a third movie.
I don't really know because I don't know if Sinister 2 did well financially and critically, and like when it comes to the audiences, it didn't satisfy, it didn't do well at all. So the only way I really see them doing another Sinister is maybe if you get Scott Derrickson and C. Robert Cargill back, but you do one that pretends that this doesn't exist. Maybe a prequel, maybe something a bit more, but something that kind of ignores what this movie felt the need to try to add to the first Sinister.
Yeah, if they did a prequel or even show how Ellison his little 15 minutes of fame came to be and if they were able to tie that murder into everything else, that would be a cool third movie. But yeah, they would just have to forget about this one. This one was a dupe.
Or if they just made a movie that was just a continuation of Sinister. It's the chain keeps moving and that's all it is. And maybe there's another Ethan Hawke esque figure. I actually had an idea for a Sinister sequel that I'll say real quick. I had an idea for it being like Coen Brothers esque, but without the comedy, where maybe, same thing, a wife trying to keep her two kids. Maybe she's barely got any money. She's really struggling, but she believes she's a better mom than this father would be. And she finds these tapes and she tries to use them as blackmail and ends up getting way too in over her head, or she maybe tries to sell them on the black market, tries to do something to get ahead using these tapes. Very Coen Brothers, where somebody finds these tapes, they try to do something with it they shouldn't be doing with it, and they get in over their head and just keep making that the cycle of Sinister sequels.
Would have been a better alternative than what we got with this one.
Yeah. But before we wrap up the episode, I wanted to throw some recommendations your way to Mercedes and some recommendations the audience's way. We're recording pretty close to when this episode is coming out, and I want to shout out some movies in theaters that are in theaters right now. I know, Mercedes, you're going to be seeing this. I don't remember if you said it on mic, but the new Final Destination movie. I'm
Yeah,
not going to
I
spoil it, but what were you going to say?
no, I'm tired of everyone saying, "Yeah, I saw it." I'm like, "Motherfucker, I want to see it," and I still haven't been able to see it. But yeah, I'm gonna hopefully see it soon. Hopefully.
Yeah, Mercedes instead is seeing Lilo and Stitch. I think she'll be next episode. You got to talk about Lilo and Stitch. Oh, I guess we should reveal it real quick right here. We're going to be doing 28 days later, 28 weeks later, and 28 years later coming up, guys. That's going to be our next season of movies.
Let's fucking go. I'm
Hell yeah.
excited for it.
I'm fucking pumped. 28 days later and 28 weeks. I've got a lot to say about those movies. 28 Days Later is in my top 16 movies of all time right now on Letterboxd. Go follow me on Letterboxd at Nicholas Ewers, guys. But that movie is so special to me. I'm so excited to talk about it. Final Destination, though, that movie rules. Mercedes, I think you're gonna fucking love it when you see it. People are saying it's the best of the fucking franchise.
I'm very, very excited, and I have high standards already because people are telling me that they liked it. People who don't even watch horror films like that or have gone to see it in it's not fair. So I'm gonna make an effort to see it this week, hopefully.
Hell yeah. And you guys never know. Maybe in the future we'll one day be covering these Final Destination movies. But Final Destination Bloodline rules, guys, or Bloodlines rules. Guys, you should definitely check it out if you are a fucking fan of horror. And real quick, two more movies in theaters. I want to shout out Mission Impossible. I won't give my full thoughts. I'm a huge Mission Impossible fan. I am gonna try and find a way to record thoughts on that because I was a little mixed on the movie, but the spectacle, that movie has spectacle, guys. It's a fucking blockbuster. Man, there's some shit in there that it will just take your breath away, spectacle wise. And then yesterday I saw this movie Friendship, starring Paul Rudd and let me make sure I get it. Paul Rudd and Tim Robinson. If you're Mercedes, have you watched I Think You Should Leave on Netflix?
I have not.
It's a comedy series. I think you might enjoy it if you like comedy that really makes you cringe and uncomfortable. Um, this movie Friendship could be a horror movie. It's classified as a comedy. I think it's a fucking beautiful work of art. I really loved it. I love the tone, the feel. It reads almost like a horror movie to me. I feel like this could be read as some deep and dark character study. I fucking loved it. Go check out Friendship. It's an indie film. I think it's going to do pretty well. This is going to be one hell of a summer, guys. Go support movies if you can. I think this is going to be one of the best summers we've had in years. I think people are really going to go out. Sinners is probably a big reason why people are coming out. Minecraft, but go to the movies, guys. Support your fucking movie theaters and go see something. I think it's gonna be great. We'll be covering 28 years later coming up in a couple of weeks. Go check that out when it comes out. Buy a ticket. Support Danny Boyle, Alex Garland, other filmmakers. I mean, we're covering Danny Boyle next week with 28 Days Later, so uh, it's gonna be a great time this year. Thanks for letting me do that, Mercedes. That whole
It's all good. It's
tangent.
all good. It's preparing us for the future and what the podcast holds. So it was necessary.
Yeah, how are you feeling about these zombie movies we got coming up?
I'm a little nervous because I always feel uneasy when it comes to zombies because you have a variety of them. You have the ones that are so fucking stupid, and they could barely walk, and then you have the ones that are terrifying and can run faster than you. Um, Honestly, that's the only reason why I do cardio, not because I like it, but because I have a fear of being chased by zombies. So, have to stay ahead of the
Zombies
game.
specifically.
Yes, exactly. Zombies specifically. All those movies
That's
have
good.
freaked me out, so I need to prepare for that.
This is gonna be a good one.
All right, sounds good. Sounds good. I can't wait.
Well, we've been Morbid Curiosities, guys. Stay tuned for 28 Days Later next week.
Let's go.